Hi, I'm Dem, a guitar instructor from Detroit. In the past decade, I've taught hundreds of students. In this video, I'll be teaching you the skills, the essential techniques you need to conquer the guitar. Okay, now it's time to make sure we're all tuned up. If you're using a tuner, we're tuned standard at 440. If you don't have a tuner, I'm going to go ahead and give you the notes. You can just match the tone. Start with the 6th string, E. 5th string, A. 4th string, D. 3rd string, G. 2nd string, B. And finally, the 1st string, E. Now it's time to rock. All right, now it's time to do the dexterity exercises. These exercises are included in your DVD and are written out in tab. I recommend you do these every day for at least 10 minutes. Now the tab tells you to do them on frets 1, 2, 3, and 4. But the actuality is, you can do them anywhere. What the 1, 2, 3, 4 represent are your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Today, we're going to do them on the 12th fret. But before I get started, let's talk about some technique. When I pick, I like to think, okay, fingertip to thumb tip. Pick hanging out about a 1/16 of an inch. Next, make sure that this part of your hand is resting on the bridge. Whether you have a floating bridge or a fixed bridge, it matters not. Keeps you grounded, gives you support. For extra support, I like to touch the pickup with my pinky. Now we're going to do them on the 12th fret, and each note I want you to hit twice. Whether it's down and up and down, I don't care, but it must be both directions. The first exercise sounds like this. Make sure each note is crisp and clear. Backwards, we're going to go 4, 3, 2, 1. The next exercise, 2, 3, 4, 1. Backwards, 1, 4, 3, 2. The next exercise, 3, 4, 1, 2. Backwards is 2, 1, 4, 3. The next exercise, we're going to lead with our pinky. 4, 1, 2, 3. Backwards is 3, 2, 1, 4. All right. The next exercise might be a little tricky. We're working with 2 strings at a time. We're going to put our first finger on the 6th string, second finger on the 5th string. Return to the 6th string with your 3rd finger, back to the 5th string with your pinky. You're going to continue on the next two strings doing the same thing. The next two, and the next two. Finally, first and second. Backwards is the same idea, but you're going to start with your pinky. Pinky on the first string, third finger on the second. Back to the first string with your second finger, return to the second string with your first finger. And keep that up all the way to the sixth string. The final exercise is our little pinky stretcher. The tabs tell you to do 1, 2, 3, 5. But all I want you to do is skip a fret. We're going to do it on the 12th fret, 12, 13, 14, 16. And finally, backwards, pinky on the 6th string, third finger on the 14, second finger on the 13, first finger on 12. Good job. Now do them every day for at least 10 minutes. Okay, now it's time to talk about rhythm. On your audio tracks, there are drums, and drums keep us in time. Tell us how fast or how slow we will play. When you hear a drummer count off a 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4, in general, they're counting the quarter notes. What would be the kick and snare? And that would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kick, snare, kick, snare. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I could play to that tempo, and that would sound like this. There's another count in there. The hi-hat. Those are 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I could play to that rhythm, and that would sound like this. Now, I could also divide that rhythm up even more, but from then on, it's up to us. We count 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Your kick and your snare are still counting your quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And with the drums, that would sound like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And playing. And finally, there's one other tempo that I'd like you to pay attention to, and those are triplets. Triplets we count by 3s from the quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And with the drums, that would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And with the combinations of those different rhythms, you too will learn to burn. Okay, now let's go over the fretboard. Some basics that you need to know. The fretboard markers, what are they? What are they for? They're to get you to zip around the guitar quickly. They fall on the odd. 3, 5, 7, 9. 3, 5, 7, 9, 3, 5, 7, 9 is to be remembered. Very important. The spot that has 2 dots, now that's the 12th fret. 12th fret is even. It's the only one that's even. The 12th fret is magical because it contains the same notes as your open string, 1 octave up. So, if that's your E note, 12th fret, same string as E. If the next note is A, it is A on the 12th fret, an octave above. And that continues. After the 12th fret, the dots continue on the odd. 15, 17, 19, 21. But here's the cool part. The notes that are on the first dot are the exact same notes that are on the first dot above 12. If this is G, the first dot above 12, that's G as well. That is an octave. If the second dot is A, your second dot above 12 is A. Your third dot is B. The third dot above 12 is B. Some guitars have 24 frets, and of course that is the same as the 12th fret, which is the same as open. Alright, now let's go over the fretboard in a little bit more detail. Included, I gave you a chart that has the notes of the neck. If you look at that, you'll see I don't have any sharps or flats included. All I'm worried about right now, that you understand the whole tones. You're eventually going to know that if this is F and this is G, the note in between is named F sharp and G flat. We'll go over that later. So, a half step. A half step is 1 fret away. A whole step, 2 frets away. B and C have no sharps or flats in between them, nor do E and F. Those 2 groups are a half a step away from each other. Other than those 2 groups, every note are a whole step away from each other. So I'm going to go up the E string to 12. E string is E. It's E on the 12th fret, 8 notes away, an octave. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Whatever letter I started with, I just ascended the alphabet. In music, after G, we go back to A. So since I just go up the alphabet, it's really not that hard. We all know the alphabet, so you're probably not going to learn that well. I like to go backwards. E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. Now you'll start to learn. The next string is the A string, and of course it is A on the 12th fret. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Backwards, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. The 4th string is D. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Backwards, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D. The 3rd string is the G string. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Backwards, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G. The 2nd string is B. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Backwards is B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B. The 1st string is just like the 6th string. E. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. I recommend you go over this often. The more you know about your fretboard, the stronger player you will be. Okay, movable shapes. The guitar and other string instruments are magical because we can use shapes. Unlike the keyboard or the piano, they are set up a little differently. Your white keys are the whole tones. The black keys are your sharps and flats. So because the way they're set up, you don't have shapes. Very hard to conquer that way. The guitar, much easier because we have shapes. You should already know a rock chord. Some people call them a power chord. The correct name is a 5 chord because I'm using the first note of the scale and the 5th note of the scale. We'll talk more about that when we talk about modes. There are other shapes. The major bar chord. My fingers are on the same position on each string. I'm just moving them around. The minor bar chord. The 7. And other chords that you may not be really familiar with. The D forms. They're movable as well. And your F chord, which is really just part of your major chord. Of course, that is movable as well. Number 1 of your pentatonic shape is number 1 of your pentatonic shape because that's what we use to start. Red is minor, blue is major. It's only obvious that if I'm playing A minor, my reds are all A's, my blue boxes fall on another note. It's important that you understand that one scale can be used for multiple things. Number 1, if I want to play minor, I would put the red box on the note that I want, in this case A, and it names it. Red are my root notes. I work on landing and resolving on them. But what about major? Well, for minor, your first finger names it. The red box names it. For major, the blue box names it. Or in this case, it would be your pinky. So if I was to play A minor, I would put my first finger on 5, run it out, all the red boxes would be A's. If I want to play A major, instead of putting the red box first finger on A, I'm going to put the blue, my pinky on A. Now all the blue notes are my root note A. Okay, in the next segment I'm going to show you how to use your pentatonic scales, improvising with your audio tracks. But first, got to cover one more thing, the key of a song. The key of a song is always the first chord of the song. Even though a song may contain multiple chords, the key is the first chord. For instance, if I'm playing in the key of E, I have an E, a G, a D, and an A. The whole song is in E. If I'm improvising, I don't change keys with the chord. I stay in the same key throughout the whole track, resolving and ending on my root note. All right, we're about ready to jam to our audio track. The track I'm going to choose first is the E minor track. To improv to E minor, I'm going to put my pentatonic shape number 1 on the 12th fret. Work real hard to resolve to the red notes, which are my root notes. And I'm going to take it slow, stack the shapes, and we'll see where we go from there. Shape number 1. winding up past number 1. 2 begins. 3, 4, back to 3 to 2, back to 1. All right, you go have some fun with the E minor track. Time to get happy. E major, a happy sound. E minor is a sad sound. We already jammed with E minor. Now we're going to jam with E major. When we play E minor, you put your first finger on E, the red box. You played the scale, all the red boxes become E. Well, for E major, major is represented by blue. So instead of putting your first finger, the red box, on E, you're going to put your pinky of shape number 1 on E. Your first finger will fall on the 9th fret. The 9th fret is C sharp. C sharp minor is E major. Your concern is not the red, your concern is blue. Blue or E. If shape number 1 starts on the 9th fret, they stack the same. Shape number 5 ends on the 9th fret. Blue box, 7th fret, 5th string, that's E. If shape number 5 starts on the 7th fret, shape number 4 ends on the 7th fret. If shape number 4 starts on the 4th fret, shape number 3 ends on the 4th fret. Shape number 3 is just below the first dot. So I'm going to pick it up just below the first dot above 12. Same thing, an octave higher. So if shape number 3 starts on the 14th fret, shape number 2 ends on the 14th fret. If you played it right, shape number 2 starts on the 12th fret, the blue box is on E. This track, the guitar gives a little intro, drums will kick in, start whenever you want. Number 1 starts on the 9th fret, your pinky's on the 12th, blue. Just below the first dot, so I'm going to pick it up just below the first dot above 12. number 2. Go get happy, play with E major. Okay, let's talk about G minor. G minor. To play in the key of G minor, you're going to put your pentatonic shape number 1 on G, the 3rd fret. Of course, I'm going to run it out, resolving on my red boxes, which are G. Now, to stack these, I'm going to move that shape number 1 above 12, the first dot above 12. Remember, whatever's on the first dot is the same, the first dot above 12. So if this is G, this is G. Here's number 1 again. If number 1 starts on the 15th fret, you know number 5 is going to end on the 15th fret. If number 5 starts on the 13th fret, you know number 4 is going to end on the 13th fret. Red boxes will still be G. If my shape number 4 starts on the 10th fret, shape number 3 is going to end on the 10th fret. If shape number 3 starts on the 8th fret, shape number 2 ends on the 8th fret. If shape number 2 starts on the 6th fret, shape number 1 ends on the 6th fret. And we're back to number 1 on the 3rd fret for G. G minor, we're going to start number 1 on the 15th. G major, happy. Major is happy, minor is sad. G major, we will put the blue box on G. If I was going to play shape number 1 My G is on the 3rd fret. I could play number 1 open. That would be open 3, open 2, open 2, open 2, open 3, open 3. But if my G is on the 3rd fret, the 1st dot, it is also on the 1st dot above 12. The 15th fret, 6th string, is G. It just so happens that G major is E minor. We're going to play shape number 1 on the 12th fret. But my concern are the blue notes. You put your pinky on the 15th fret, stack them right, all your blue notes become G. Here's shape number 1. If shape number 1 starts on the 12th fret, shape number 5 ends on the 12th fret. Blue box, G. If shape number 5 starts on the 10th fret, shape number 4 ends on the 10th fret. If shape number 4 starts on the 7th fret, shape number 3 ends on the 7th fret. If shape number 3 starts on the 5th fret, shape number 2 ends on the 5th fret. Blue box, 3rd fret, that's G. G major, 2 measures, 4 beats of drums. Number 1's on 12th fret. Blue box, 1 G. Shape number 5. Dot. I'm going to pick it up on the 1st dot above 12, 15th fret. All right, we're about to play with the key of A minor. To be in the key of A minor, you're going to put your pentatonic shape number 1 on the 5th frets. Your red boxes are all on A's. Listen to the rhythm of the song and write them out. If pentatonic shape number 1 starts on the 5th fret, your pentatonic shape number 5 is going to end on the 5th fret. However, pentatonic shape number 4 does not fit. The nut is there. It could fit, but we'll talk about that later. We're going to place number 4 on the 12th fret. Your root note, 5th string, 12th fret. If number 4 starts on 12, number 3 ends on 12. If number 3 starts on 10th frets, number 2 ends on 10th frets. If number 2 starts on the 8th frets, number 1 ends on the 8th frets. Now, above 12, you see here, pentatonic shape number 1 starts on the 2nd dot. Well, of course, you can also play it on the 2nd dot above 12, the same shape. Number 1 on the 17th fret. You can go either way. You could descend into shape 5, into 4, which is on the 12th fret, or we could ascend. If number 1 ends on the 20th fret, there's where number 2 starts. And of course your red are still the root notes. Now, I'm going to give you 2 measures of 4 beats before the song starts. I'm going to jam for you a little bit here in the key of A minor. Shape number 1. The song is on my root note. Shape number 5. Okay, now we're going to talk about D. This song is special because this song is set up for you to play D minor and D major over. For me to play in the key of D minor, I would put my first finger, the red box of shape number 1, on the 10th fret. All red boxes become D. I run it out and resolve on D. And I would stack them from there. If I'm going to play D major, instead of putting my first finger of shape number 1 on the 10th frets, I would put my pinky on shape number 1 of the 10th fret, which becomes D. All blue boxes are now D. And they stack the same. If number 1 starts on the 7th fret, number 5 ends on 7th fret. Blue box is D. Shape number 4 ends on the 5th fret. And of course my pinky still falling on the D. I'm going to start with D major. Shape number 1 is going to start on 7. These are my root notes. If number 1 starts on 7, that's where 5 ends. Four ends on 5. Minor. I'm going to put shape number 1 on the 10th fret, and you can hear completely different sounds. Five, 4, 3, 4, 5, 'Rock out in D. Thank y'all for jamming with us, checking out our video. We covered a lot of ground. Everything you need to know to get started tearing up the guitar. I've taught hundreds of students up here in Detroit, some of whom become better players than I am, but they use my system. I know several guitar instructors use my system. But I'd like to wrap up and say that you're only going to get what you put in. You need to play every day. You need to do your dexterity exercises every day. You need to memorize your pentatonic shapes. They're valuable tools for the toolbox. And when you have all your pentatonic shapes memorized, be sure to check out our second video on the modes. And I'll take you one step further in conquering the guitar. Again, I'm Dan from Detroit, and I'd like to thank you, and thanks for rocking.